Welcome to part 6 of the new prepayment system in Bookmanager. This one is another short part, and it's just a note about Ingram Direct to Home. Many of our US stores take advantage of their direct to home service through iPage, whereby you can order something and then have it shipped directly to the customer's home address, so you never interact with the book. We've had a few questions about this, and it works pretty much like any other prepay order. Essentially, let's find something that we'd maybe want to order from Ingram and do a direct to home. So I don't know why I choose cats. Let's do dogs this time. Switch it up. So let's find some dog books, something that we need to order in. It really doesn't matter. Paw Patrol book. Looks like, yep, it's in stock in Ingram. So you'd normally find the book, order it, put in the customer's information. We're going to be doing Ingram. And this is where, at this point, many of you may not even be, well, you should be recording the order in Bookmanager if you're doing a direct to home, because when the book arrives or gets sent to the customer, you will get an electronic invoice from Ingram. So it's going to have a receiving document. And it's also nice to track the actual sale that this happened. So if there's ever any problems, if you don't record it in Bookmanager, you're kind of having to go on iPage to suss it out. So we like to encourage stores to record direct to home orders in Bookmanager. The only nuance is that you're not actually using the EDI system in Bookmanager. You're not using the single title holding order. You're not adding it to a regular Ingram order. You're doing it on iPage. So we don't want to add this to your pending orders. So this is where I would arrow up to the status here and immediately put in any other status, like any order status, like order. You can hit page up to see the full list here. This is where you could choose like order web. Doesn't really matter. Any one of these statuses with an O in front of it will do. So I just choose one of these. Let's just do O web. I could even make mention of it here, like direct to home. I know some stores will actually do the direct to home first, and they will get a PO number or something generated from Ingram, from iPage, and they'll put it here. However you normally do this, just do the usual. And in this case, again, if the customer is doing a direct to home and prepaying for it, which they usually have to, this is where I would mark it as a prepay. So I would go yes to this, throw in my clerk code, set up a new held prepay, go to the existing prepay, and this is where I would edit into this, take the prepayment. So I'd go ahead and go right through and take their cash over the phone or however they do it. Maybe you're even doing direct to homes from online orders. It can all be done the same way. Maybe you'd also be adding a shipping charge. Again, this is all store policy. This is where if you say we're adding a store shipping charge, you'd use the 0 and enter to add a shipping ISP. I know it's going to be $12 or whatever it ends up being. So again, this is all fine. And again, this is in our own store. We'd actually at this point probably mark this with the back order status as a prepay, but for a direct to home, this is one where since you aren't interacting with the order at all, you could probably just sell this as is. I'm going to say no if we need a held invoice for this one. I'm basically saying we're just going to pre-sell the shipping, not worry about it. We just want the book to be pre-ordered. So again, taking the payment for the item, we're done. When the book comes in from Ingram, so let's just go into receiving. We'll say that with direct to home shipments, you oftentimes have an electronic invoice for it. So you'll find them, they have a certain number to them, numbering system. This is where you can select the document. Usually it has just one item. And I know also that shipping is sometimes or oftentimes on its own invoice as well. Kind of annoying, but it's just the way it is. But either way, you go and you receive it just like normal. So I'm going to assume or just pretend that I have an electronic invoice for this item that I just ordered. You'd process the electronic receiving document like you normally would. So usually just loading it, and then we're going to escape out. So this is working very much like a normal prepay receiving order. Make sure you're posting, adding special orders to the point of sale. Yes to that. The final step with this is instead of going and notifying the customer that they have something ready to pick up, we know that it's either in transit or at the customer's address. So this is where I would now immediately after doing this, bump into the point of sale, and I would look up this direct to home. So fast for me is to go to the log, option A here for notify customer, they're ready for pickup. This is where I can find all my helds that have just arrived, posted from receiving. So I can find the one for the direct to home. I won't actually have stock of this in my hand. So what we just need to do is basically mark this as done. I'm now going to edit into this and just go right through to tendering and page up to finalize. I'd also at this point send them either a receipt or a notification. Now, this is again personal or store preference. It's not mandatory, but I'd say it'd probably be good to notify the customer that either they should have their book or that it's going to be there very soon. So this is where I would do P for print, N for notice, and I would create a template for this specific to direct to home. So I'd probably have something that would say like the following items are in transit or may already have arrived at your residence. And that's it. You just want to send them a little notice. Now, if they want a receipt with this, that's again up to you whether you want to also send them a receipt, an emailed receipt, or you can do an A for attach to attach a PDF invoice. If you didn't know about that function, A for attach attaches a PDF invoice of this transaction. But either way, that was it. That you want to go ahead and finalize and tender that held sale so that the prepay in Bookmanager is resolved, it's not orphaned, and then you've got a nice little paper trail about the whole thing. You could even use the log down here to make a note if you wanted to note anything. But again, this is all up to your own store policy. But this is our recommendation. Don't just not enter prepay direct to homes in the system. You should go through the receiving process. And again, you should sell the held because it takes all 30 seconds to finish it off. And that whole paper trail is really nice.